I really like the word compromise. And I think, as you say, we take that as a scary word, compromise. Like, what if you say I'm compromising, then you're saying I am ignoring or I am defying a part of myself if I compromise, like, and so what are some things, what were you going to say? Because you were going to say.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of times people are afraid of the word compromise because it means they're going to lose something.
Yeah, lose a part of their self or identity,
A part of their idea, whatever. But what they don't realize is they're going to gain something that they never even imagined existed, right? That's what relationships are all about, and that's what makes us better as people, is being in relationship with others. And so being in relationship with others' ideas, we will come up with a better idea. It'll be a win-win if we're willing to give up something from our idea. But, that takes us a step back to being able to believe that we're not right about everything.
No. I think that could... I've always loved organizations, and I want to get in, if it's okay. We'll wrap this up with some best practices, if that's okay. Just some talking to that. But I after you saying that, I picture being in a boardroom with a big dry erase board and drawing a big circle. I'm like, here's the vision, and having all these diverse people, neurodiversity, skin diversity, all these things, where we're trying to fit it into that centerpiece. Like, what's the vision of the organization? What's the vision of community? What are these things? And I see all these different ideas, and in how are organizations creating that listening and talking collaboration, like, and I vision that, I see that, and I love that about organizations. If an organization said, we don't have meetings, we have just a big brain dump in the boardroom, I'm like, great, sign me up, and you can say whatever you want, your frustrations, everything, be respectful, kind. And I was like, great, sign me up. What are some best practices that you've seen taking place out there, some things you've heard colleagues that maybe you can share that other organizations could not overhaul their culture, but just some simple things that we could do?
And the first one, it's a two-parter because it depends on the current existing culture of the organization. But when you go in, and particularly as you start to diversify, if you are going to start diversifying.
That's another
your
topic.
Workforce, right? Yeah, it totally is. But going in, and sometimes it's as easy as handing out index cards. And I'm going to say one thing, and I want everybody to write down their response to it. And then I collect the index cards, no names on them, right? And read all of them. Because then you're going to find where the group differs, and you can explore some of those differences. So hopefully the people who wrote those would then have the courage to at least support that idea or explain that idea a little bit more. Another way that we can do it is sometimes I'll ask a question and go around the room, and everybody has 2 minutes to speak. And then they can't speak again until everybody else has had their 2 minutes. And what's really interesting about that is generally I will give 30 seconds to a minute for people to jot down their ideas before they speak. So what's interesting is as we go around the room, you can see the other people listening to the people who are currently speaking and then adding more notes to theirs because they're modifying their ideas. Because they recognize that maybe they didn't have the best idea down there on their note card, right? Because they had forgot about that point, or they never even considered that point. So that's a nice strategic way to allow all of the ideas to come out, and not just the people who like to talk the most or feel most comfortable speaking.
Yeah, and it's such a simple tool. It's such a simple tool to be able to use, just an icebreaker or whatever. But I think it sounds so simple, right? But it's like, why does it have to be, glamorous, fabulous? Like, why does it have to be over the top? It could be just a simple, show and tell.
Exactly.